Hi everyone and welcome to Hobby World. As you can see, I have moved outside today, and the reason for that is I need to paint up this full-size 3D printed alien egg, including its facehugger we have right over here. So today the weather is just perfect, there's almost no wind, so it will be a perfect opportunity to get this project finished. So why don't we get started, and please enjoy the video. As I just mentioned in the introduction, I have dragged the alien egg project outside, and right here we have the egg itself, and it looks absolutely amazing. But it still needs to be painted, of course. I'm pretty sure that it's going to look much better with paint on it than without, unless I totally screw it up, but I hope that doesn't happen. When we take a look at the egg here, I have decided to paint the interior of it in a reddish, skinnish-like color to make it look really organic. And down on the sides I'm going to use a greenish, brownish, blackish color that really sounded like I had planned something with it. I'm going to paint it in those three colors, with the green and the brown sort of like in the back, and then some of the black color popping out in front and some of the brown popping out in front, to make it look like there are several layers of different features and colors inside the egg. And of course the idea is that it's going to look like a hardened shell. So the egg itself will have this nice cozy interior, organic, sort of reddish-like interior, and then hardened shell that will look a bit like armor. And the facehugger we have over here is going to be pretty basic painting. I'm going to paint it all up with a rattle can with a bone color, and when all of the facehugger is painted and the bone color is even on all of the model, you can see there are lots and lots of features here, then I am going to give it some shadings and making it look like a real bone that has a bit of age to it. And in the inside of the facehugger, it's actually a bit difficult seeing here, we need the light. I'm going to paint it with a reddish color to making it look like this opening is organic feature where you can lay these eggs as it does in the alien movie. I have dragged several bottles of or several rattle cans out here with spray paint, so I'm going to be using those. And of course I'm going to use a mask even though I'm outside, just to prevent getting any of this stuff inside my own body. That would be really annoying. So that's basically the project right now, and I'm going to start painting this up and hope that the wind doesn't pick up. It's actually pretty cold out here, so even though there's no wind, it's still pretty cold in the middle of January. Well, that was actually a lot colder than I had expected it to, especially for the finger that pushed the spray can. It's really, really cold out here. So remind me not to do this in January once more. On the other hand, it turned out great. If we take a look at the alien egg here, I'm just going to pick up the camera and then do it. If we take a look at the alien egg here, it turned out really nice. The red is a bit too red right now, as you can see on the camera, or probably see. And the dark, I don't know how much of these details you can see, but I think they are more or less there. You can see the tones of a bit of red, green, brown inside it, and then the black on top. And I've decided to pick up all of these edges, all of these veins by hand, and then highlight them and make sure that a vein like this large one over here will proceed over through the red with a highlight of a bit of grayish, a bit of ash look, to make it look like it really is part of the egg, and that red stuff isn't sitting there unnaturally. It must look natural, everything, especially inside the egg. If we take a look at this top here, it actually looks pretty good like this, but I'm still going to pick up all these veins by hand, just give them a slight highlight to make them look as real as possible. I think this turned out really nice, and with basically, just to admit it, not that much work. If it wasn't because of the temperature out here, this was actually pretty pleasant work. It was pretty fun doing. And if we just take a look at the facehugger over here, it also ended up exactly like I had expected it to. So it has the bone color, and now I need to pick up all of the edges everywhere where there is a gap. It needs to be slightly darker, so I need to make some shadows on this one, and I'm probably going to use this do this using pigments, as they create a really nice effect on bone colors on large models. So the problem or the challenge I face here is that before I can start making any details on these two parts, they need to fit perfectly together and look like they're part of the same sort of like model. And right now the facehugger is very bright and the egg is pretty dark. So if I positioned the facehugger inside the egg now, it would probably look terrible, and I need that weathering on both of the parts to make it look complete and make it look like a whole model. But I'm getting there. This looks pretty good so far. So this needs time to dry. It's Sunday tomorrow, so tomorrow I'm probably just going to pick up a brush and see if I can manage to finish these two parts. Yeah, of course I couldn't help myself. I simply had to place the facehugger inside the egg when it was dry enough, just to see how it looked. And it actually doesn't look half bad. This actually looks okay. If we take a look at the facehugger here, it's way too bright, of course, but you can still see that it actually belongs in this egg. So with the proper use of weathering and pigments, this is going to look absolutely awesome. So I'm just going to drag this inside, and then I'm going to let it stay there over the night, and then I can start painting it all with a brush and pick up all of the details, veins, weathering and so on. And I have it's Sunday tomorrow, as I said before, so I might be able to finish it during a single day. That would be really great. But so far, just look at it. Great. That's how an alien egg is supposed to look. Well, we are here once again, and now it's time to paint this model. This is the full-size facehugger, and I have the alien egg placed right over here. When I'm going to paint a model like this, some of the rules that apply when painting miniatures still apply, but there are also some different rules because the model is much larger. Among other things, the paints will dry a lot slower, as there's a lot more paint on the model itself. And especially with this model, I've been considering how to do it, and I have decided to use washes to build up all of the layers until I get the exact look of the model I want. And I'm going to start with a red wash and apply it in certain areas, especially here around all of these bony structures, and that will create this red glow down below the bone color it will end up with. And of course it will also need some red in this area. So when applying this wash, it's going to take a pretty long time for it to cure or dry, as the model is so large and there'll be a lot of wash on it. So I'll have to take a lot of breaks while waiting for the paint to dry. When the red is dry, I'm going to apply a wash that will create a bit of yellowish wash that will create the bony structure of it. And then I'm going for some green, blue, maybe a bit of purple, in the inside area here, where I'll also apply a gloss varnish to make it really shiny. So after all of that, I'm going to pick up all of these areas that are raised and highlight them with a more or less white color to get the feel of bones and claws. So there's nothing else now to do than just simply start and see how it turns out. It's a lot different than working with small miniatures. The work process itself and how to get to the final result is basically the same, but the feel of working with it when it's so large is so much different. So I'm considering using an airbrush for the final highlighting part, but I would just really like to complete this only using a brush. So I'm going to consider that while applying all of the washes and leaving it dry, and then I'm going to see what happens. I've been working a bit both on the facehugger and the egg today, and we have the facehugger here located to make sure that the wash stays where it is supposed to while it dry. And I ended up hand painting this using a brush and a dry brushing technique and so on, but I finished it all off with the spray, the Ridley can, and then I simply applied an overspray on all of the facehugger. And I've also done a bit of work on the egg this evening. I have fixed up the interior and made this look a lot better. I did this by adding a spray with a skin color, and after that I applied a brown and reddish wash on top of this to flow down in all of the gaps and cracks up here, and this created a very nice effect. I am happy about how the interior of the egg looks. Another day with the alien egg project, and it's looking very fine today. Today we have full lights on it, we have sunlight on the egg, and that makes some of the details more visible than they were yesterday. So if we take a close look at the egg itself here, it's possible to see that it is actually green below the black, brown and reddish surface. And we have all of these colors in the egg itself, so this looks very nice. It was impossible to see this in an unnatural light yesterday or in electric light, but here in the sunlight it's very visible and it actually looks incredibly good. I didn't expect it to look this good, but it works really well. Today I'm going to pick up some of these veins and highlight them just slightly, and then I'm going to add a gloss varnish to the egg to finish it off. If you take a look at the interior work I did yesterday, we can see I added a color up here to create a more natural feel of the inside of the egg, so it isn't just a plain red. So I added this color and some washes, 3 different washes to be exact, a brownish, a dark brownish and a red wash, and that looks very, very nice. That's just the effect I was going for. Unfortunately, when this dried, it seems to have a matte finish, so I'm also going to add gloss varnish to that, and if that doesn't get all the glossiness I want, I'm probably going to use some transparent resin to make it look really slimy. If we take a look at the Facehugger itself, it's also looking pretty good now that all of the washes has dried. We have the inside here. Again, this needs to look wet, so I'm going to apply a gloss varnish, and if that doesn't cut it, then I'm going to use transparent resin to make it look slimy. If we take a look at the, that's probably a bit difficult due to the light, I'll just turn it around here. If we take a look at the tail here, it's okay, but I wanted more darkness, I wanted more shading in all of these gaps, so I'm going to use some pigments. I found a lot of pigments, and I'm going to use those and apply them with a brush in all of the recesses of this, including on the back shield of the Facehugger. But anyways, it still looks pretty good, and I am so far very satisfied with the result. So I got a small helper today. This is Lila, named after our Futurama character, and she's a heavy cat, and she's also very social. So she'll help me today with this egg. Just a short break to talk a bit about how the Facehugger is progressing. I have started using pigments to catch all of the details of this very beautiful bone model. And the way I do this is that I take the pigments, which are sort of a dust-like consistency, and then I apply it to a brush, and then I simply add it to all of the gaps and cracks on the bottle like this. Usually by dabbing a bit down here to allow the dust to fall into all of the small recesses. And it creates a really nice effect, especially on bone models or models with bone structure. So I could consider undead models and so on would be a perfect way of using pigments, but also dinosaurs, skeletons and so on. This looks really great. Let's just take a quick look at the egg, because I noticed a small, very cool effect I didn't actually make on purpose. If we take a look at it here in the sunlight, I've placed it with the curtains so they create these stripes here. And the egg is all black. You can see it, it's a black alien egg. But if we get some direct sunlight on it, we can actually see the red tone, we can see the green tone and some brown tone up here. And it's only exposed when there is direct sunlight on it, or else it'll just look black. So that's actually a very nice effect. I am going to highlight all of the raised areas, and when they have been highlighted, I'm going to add a varnish on all of the egg, so all of this will look really slimy again, and it is going to look really great, because I think the gloss look is going to be the best one for this egg, and it is really going to enhance that unintended awesome effect on the outside of the eggshell. So just wanted to show you, I think it's pretty cool. Well, we are almost nearing an end here. I have my alien egg standing here, and it has its very own Facehugger placed in top of it, glued in place and so on, and everything is just incredible, because this was a really strange project to work on. This is so alien from any other projects I've done so far, and just making this shell and the body, it was just incredible. I walked into this more or less blind because I had no idea how I was going to do it. I just planned on, let's 3D print this alien egg, let's assemble it, and then when we've done that, let's figure out how to paint it and make it look really gooey and creepy. And it just turned out incredible, almost in the first go. I have made very few changes to the process while I was working on it. The body of the egg here, the egg itself, it got this incredible surface. It looks black in artificial light, but in sunlight, exposed to sunlight, it will look both red, green, brown, and then of course the black. So that's just amazing how it turned out. And of course I hoped that it would have that effect using these rattle cans on it from top and then just overspraying it with the black and then giving it a gloss varnish. But to be quite honest, I actually didn't expect it to work. So that it worked, it's just simply amazing. And of course I'm going to take that technique and use it later on. And if we take a look at the interior of the egg, I'm going to do a better video here where I present it after this. But the interior of the egg, it just looks really nasty. It looks wet, it looks gooey, and it's just so creepy, and it's just perfect. It's just the way it should look like. I used some red washes and some brown washes to create some shading inside this red after simply applying a red rattle can. And then I used a rattle can with some skin color, and then the washes, and then just a gloss varnish when it had all dried, and it just ended up perfectly. The facehugger itself, this color, it was just what I was going for, and I just nailed it the first time. It's amazing. I was so lucky with this project, and the gloss varnish on top of it, it just finished it off and made it look simply incredible. And both the egg and the facehugger really fits together right now, because that was one of my main concerns, that these two parts would look a bit too different. They wouldn't look like they belong together, but they do. This is looking really great, and it has definitely earned a place among my top 3 projects this year. So yeah, I'm just really happy about this. I was considering doing an effect where I added some goo dripping from the claws of the facehugger with UV resin, but I decided not to do that because I was simply so impressed about the result so far, and to be quite honest, I was a bit afraid that I might ruin it all if I started adding this UV resin. But I have not completely abandoned the idea yet. I could still do it, but then I'll probably make another video about it. And I'm also considering making a platform for this to stand on, where it will cast some probably green light, but I'll most likely make it with shifting lights below, so it will illuminate it from below and give it this really alien feel. But I'm very happy about this, and of course when I'm finished speaking here, I'm going to show this in the video how it all turned out. So now there's probably only left to say that I am really happy if you have watched this video. It means a lot to me that people watch these videos. Regarding the hobby aspect of all of this, I have 3D printed a lot of stuff now the last couple of years. I put up a Terminator video around a year ago where I made this T800 full-size Terminator, which was kind of the project I started this channel with, and it just got so much attention, and I was really happy about that. That was really motivating for making more videos. And then after that I have made both board games and other 3D printable projects. I'm working on slot cards right. There are so many projects, and I've also started writing a scripts for several DIY and how-to videos. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and supporting it. Then I'll promise you that I'll bring a lot of new stuff, and probably or hopefully I can make something that will both inspire and help other people with their hobbies. I have also always liked the part of the hobby where people shared ideas and thoughts and how to do stuff. Personally, I use YouTube and Google all the time to learn new techniques, and I am so incredibly happy about how helpful other peoples within the hobby community are. and that's really rewarding itself, helping others again. So if you enjoyed this video, please support it, and please subscribe to my channel. Now there's only one thing left to do, and that is present this result, so you can all see how it actually turned out. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.